Hi, I'm Leah. I'm from Spain and I started my dance training with hip hop, and one of my first teachers was the one to introduce me to a lot of opportunities, and that's how I got also into contemporary dance and modern dance. I started creating quite early on, and one of my first experiences performing my own material was with a piece actually that me and my sister Marta created together for the Young Promises Awards by Gerard Collins in Valencia, and we were super thrilled that we got one of the awards. I danced with several companies, and in the last couple of years I worked with a singer and his music videos together with my sister, and that's when we decided to go back to working together and we created Back to Basics. I was introduced to IU actually by my sister, and I used to hear like these stories from rehearsals, and it always made me feel like it was a very open and creative space. So when I heard about the audition, I didn't hesitate, and here we are building an installation. Besides dance, I love music. On road, and I really like movies and TVs because I love stories, and NBA basketball is the best. And I really like to write and to draw, especially to relax. I love going to museums, especially with my parents, because they know all the history and artistic stuff.
The golden one thing in movement to me is a light bulb moment.
Well, we've stopped moving. We've been confined in one space, and I guess we've had to find the gold in that.
Discovering something that really works for your body, and you might stumble across it by accident when you're improvising. You think, oh, this feels good, and then at that point it's having the confidence to stick with it, explore it more.
I feel it's just when everything just makes sense that you're doing, and the movement that occurs very much works well and fits together. I feel like the light bulb moment only occurs when you're dedicated or invested into a task or an idea.
I like going last after all of them because I'm like, yeah, take that, take that, take that, take that. Because there's a lot of gold in everyone's movement.
I find when I'm improvising there's a pressure often to always be original, but when you stop and really dig into a movement, it's like a record that's got stuck on the best bit, and that can actually be really interesting to watch.
And staying where you are can work out because we all stayed inside, and now lockdown is easing and we're able to go out more and stuff like that.
Leah, my first impression of her was someone who's assured in what she's doing. She's got this peacefulness about her movement quality, which I find really nice to watch.
She has this wonderful ability to latch onto something in the music or a movement and explore it like over again and again and again and again, and she takes you on that journey with her in her movement.
You come in and the place and me say well slick. Bam bam hey yo, tawata bam 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 bilang.
In short, I'd say it's not giving up when you want to, and keep going until you get to that next level where there's a whole new world for you to explore, movement in this case, or whatever it is that you're doing with. One of the things that I really like about working like this is that as much as it can feel limiting and scary, it gives you a focus point, which when you're doing improvisation, it can help a lot sometimes. You can have a road to follow, and also it forces you to once you feel like you exhaust your movement within that idea, you have to keep on going for a bit longer and push your body and your feeling and get to that goal. It's sticking to something. When you get to that point where you feel like you don't know where to go anymore, stay with it, give it a little bit more time. And I feel in a way that that's what's been happening for myself and for IU during these months. We stuck to our weekly sessions and the tasks that each of us did individually throughout the weeks. And I really believe that commitment is one of the key things to get to the goal in anything. And for us, I remember when we started, we were working on the choreography for Enriched, and then we did all these work with movement and improvisation using different techniques. And we're doing all of this at home in whatever space each of us has. And I did feel like I was in a box. That's one of the things that we have to adapt and find our way that our body can move in that space and stretch it and push through that and get the most out of it. Basically making the choice to keep going even when it feels really like you're out of place. Keeping things simple, I think, is also a big part of it. Like in hip hop, you have all these basics, like the groove and the bounce, and you can do unlimited moves and combinations with them, but you always have to go back to the most simple thing and grow from there. One of the tasks that I revisited was the anti-bowling. It's one of those things that when I started, I didn't know what to do at all. I was only trying not to knock down the bottles. But the more that I practiced and I stayed there with the props and with the task, I started finding like spaces in movement and ways that I couldn't see at all at the beginning. And that's when you kind of get into that flow and find the gold with it. There's this method that we've been using in quite a few of the sessions for improvisation. We set rules and kind of like limitations. And it's funny how many options there really are, because we all end up doing something completely different. When you start dancing, it feels so awkward and limiting, and you're like, what to do with this? But as you kind of get into the music and just give it time, then you start finding, you know, your options, and the limitations themselves even carve like a new way of movement for yourself and your energies, and that it gives you kind of like your pinboard.
For the last time this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome Kyra to the stage.
Waiting for the sun.
What I take from this is that anything in any situation can create gold.
Cracks all in the walls. They call for me.
And you need to commit, and you know, you're still gonna have bad times, we don't know what to do. You feel stuck or it doesn't feel right. But it's just about trying again, you know. Quote Leah, dust it up and try again.
Reach beneath the scars and cut through something.
And that's true. It's just about failing and then getting to the goal. And the fastest that you go through your fails, the fastest that you get to your win and your goal. My favorite moment, having the opportunity to have these rehearsals and train with everyone, seeing everyone every week and seeing what everyone created, and you know, being stuck. It's hard, like I found it so hard sometimes to be inspired and to be motivated, but having this every week and having other people to, you know, be inspired by and be challenged by, it's just so cool.
Hi, this is Leah Valverde, and this was my episode on the Golden One Thing movement.